select a date and a time. So what I'm showing here is actually a couple of preliminary controls that we've received from Telerik. So we expect with these new APIs that a lot of control vendors are going to do some interesting things and make those available to the broader Windows Phone community to have new and interesting ways to access this information. So what Telerik has done is actually build something that looks very similar to the standard date and time pickers in the native experience on the phone. But they've augmented it with the information that they're receiving back from the from the calendar APIs. And so what they do is show this little number up in the corner on a particular day or time. It shows the number of conflicts or the number of appointments for that day. So here's today, there's 6 appointments on my calendar, and so that may not be the best day to have a wine tasting, but let's try tomorrow instead, and that looks a little better. There's 3 appointments, so I'll select that, and then I'm going to choose a time, and it looks like tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I've also got 3 different conflicts. Let's see. A busy schedule. Let's see here. Today, actually, right after this, I should be free. All right, well, I'm going to have to skip those other meetings in order to have a drink, which seems reasonable. And so now I've selected a time to actually have the wine tasting. Now the next thing I want to do is select a location. And so here I'm going to be using the address chooser task. I pop that open, and it actually turns out in this little subset of contacts that I have on this device, only one of my contacts has an address. So whether she likes it or not, Anna is going to be hosting the wine tasting. So thank you, Anna, in advance. So we're going to do that in Seattle. And then the last thing I'm going to do is actually go and choose a set of contacts. And so the date and time pickers that I showed were from Telerik. This particular control is just something that's homegrown, but it shows the power of these APIs. So this actually allows me to do something that looks very similar to the single contact chooser on the phone, but allows me to select multiple contacts. So let's see, Andrew, Arturo, and Chris, we're going to get together. I guess I should invite Anna as well since she's hosting. And select that. And I have those guys show up. And so I can get not only their name, but also their contact picture, and so I can enable this type of really bright, lively UI. And so now that I've done all that, I can just go ahead and send an email. So I populated all that information that I got from those controls, put them into an email, and I can send that off. So now we're all set to have a wine tasting. Now the last thing I want to show, actually jumping back to the database portion of the talk, is what you might think of as the first instance of business intelligence on Windows Phone 7. So I'm actually taking the Silverlight charting controls, doing a simple group by statement of the wines that I've consumed and marked as finished in the application, and turning that into a pie chart. And so this is a fairly simple example, obviously, but you start to see the power of being able to take that information, do interesting queries on it, and tie it together with the controls that we have.